guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with a life update video. I was not going to do this video, but I had a couple comments on my last vlog where they asked what was going on because I announced it on Instagram on the last day of school. I quit my job. I am not returning to the classroom. If you guys don't know, I have been a high school English teacher for the past 8 years. I graduated college in 2015, immediately got a job teaching high school English. I primarily taught 9th and 10th grade, and then about 3 years into my teaching career, I took over the yearbook program, and I was one of the yearbook co-advisors, and I ran yearbook. And the pandemic took it out of all of us. So I'm gonna give a little bit of context to what happened, why I quit my job, and what I'm doing now. And then I have some questions that I asked on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram and you do have an Instagram, I definitely recommend doing that. I already put in on Instagram everything that was happening, but for those of you who don't follow me or don't have an Instagram or are just wondering what's going on, I have this video for you. I also will say my Patreon has known about it for months. They are people I vent to and give a lot more insight into my life to. So some of my reading vlogs and during my reading sprints, I chatted about wanting to quit my job and let them know when I did decide to quit my job, which was a while ago. So I'll get into that. So I had always wanted to be a teacher, and I was thinking about what I wanted to do with my life. I initially wanted to be a math teacher, and then I started blogging the summer after I graduated high school. And that's when I was like, why do I want to do math my whole life? Like, I have always been an avid reader, so I was like, why not do English? I knew I wanted to do high school. I am not like a touchy-feely person. I don't think I would do well at all with elementary. So I am really interested in the science of reading though, and so I do have my master's. This video, I'm sorry, is going to be all over the place because I'm going to remember things and go back and forth. I got my master about 3 years ago and 2 years ago. I finished my master's about 2 years ago in literacy. So that's when I was part of the guided reading program. I was one of the teachers where we did reading interventions with students reading severely below grade level, like 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade reading level when they're in 9th and 10th grade. So I was super interested in the science of reading. I love reading. My classroom, if you ever followed me on Instagram, had tons and tons of books, very passionate about it. I loved teaching when I started, and I was really happy I changed to English, and I just had always wanted my own classroom, and it was so fun. I loved my students. I loved coming to the school every new school year. Obviously, there's hardships in teaching, and teachers go through a lot, but once COVID hit, really things started to change for me. I saw a lot of people start working from home, and I got very jealous. I have 2 dogs. I have my own house with my sister. We bought a house together in 2018, and I love my house, and I love my dogs, and I was getting a lot of jealousy over people working from home, and then I saw over the past couple years seeing more and more people start working in the book world, and I was jealous. I was so happy for them, but I was also like, man, I wish I had that kind of job. Instead, I was going to school every day. I was waking up at 5:30 every morning. I am someone who loves working out, and I have to work out after school, and I'm weird. I don't like working out in the afternoon. I just feel like more heavy. I always can feel my food in my stomach if I've eaten at all throughout the day when I work out. So I was not a fan of working out after school, and I did it for 8 years, but I love first thing in the morning getting up and working out. That's just like something that makes me happy. I feel so good physically. It starts my day off so well. So those were like different factors thinking into like, man, I really want to work from home and set my own schedule, and then I could be able to walk my dogs all the time. I would get home from work at 3:30. I would work out. It would be like 4:45, 5 o'clock by the time I'm done with everything, and then it's time for dinner, and then my sister would have already walked my dogs, or it'd be too hot to walk the dogs, and I wouldn't be able to walk them as much as I wanted to. So there was a lot going into the fact that I didn't love the schedule of being a teacher. And so I saw a lot of people setting their own schedule, working from home, being with their animals all day, and I'm like, this is something that I would love. And I've talked to a lot of coworkers. We had a week this year where something happened in our building where we had to close it for a week. So we worked from home, and I was thriving. I absolutely loved it. I had so many coworkers like hated it. They were like, I felt like I was stuck inside all day. I couldn't get away from my family. I hated it. And I was like, Well, I loved it, so I'm very aware of what works for me. And so also what has been happening the last couple years in education, it has been rough. So COVID hit the world really hard, right? And we immediately shut down and went to online school. And we were online for the entire rest of the school year in 2020, and then we started virtual for about 2 months, and then we came back into the classroom. That 5 months of schooling, March, April, May, August, September, into October, changed the expectations and the attitudes of kids probably irrevocably. Like this, it was hard. So in those few months, we basically said, you do anything, you try, we're gonna pass you. They weren't learning. They were having a really hard time. Students really struggled, but there have been such long-lasting repercussions of those 5 months in my district. We were only virtual for 5 months that just wholly affected kids, because then we started saying, well, we need to show them some compassion, obviously, as teachers, but that also meant we weren't as hard on them. We weren't having as high of expectations. We were kind of just like moving them along because they were all going through a very traumatic experience. 3 years later, students have such less passion for education, such less drive for education, for learning, and it has been so apparent in my classroom. No matter what you do as a teacher, you cannot force kids to care, and it has been really hard lately to force them to care. Obviously, this is not the case for every student, but enter this year ChatGPT, and now you can't even tell if a kid is cheating, and cheating has been running rampant, and this is across all schools. We had the Devious Licks challenge on TikTok, where we literally had to take the mirrors off the walls in our bathrooms because kids were vandalizing anything and everything they could, and it's just been hard. I've just lost my passion for teaching, and the respect kids have for teachers has just been decreasing throughout my years of teaching. I've been teaching for 8 years, and I've seen this lack of respect so much. I don't know how to explain it, but it is just a very hard time to be a teacher right now, and I just lost my love for it. Like each year, I've become less and less excited at the beginning of every school year. It used to be so exciting for me. I would go to our open house, so excited to meet all my new students, so excited to show them what I'm doing, revamping all my lesson plans and everything I was doing with them, and I've just become, I just like have cared less and have been less excited, and my passion just wasn't in it anymore. And even like leaving the kids, one of my coworkers was like, I'm so sad at the end of the year, I'm gonna miss them so much. And I was like, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna miss my kids, but like, I'm not sad. Like, I just like, so much emotion has not been in education for me anymore. And I have not loved getting up at 5:30 every day, and my whole schedule, and just the lifestyle I dreamed for myself is different now. And I didn't know that that was something that would happen. I expected to be a teacher until I retired. And so I decided to quit, and I had been feeling that way. The reason I didn't quit last year was because my students were absolutely amazing. Like last year's year of students cared so much about everything and about me as a person. We grew so close, and I loved them so much. They were the highlight of my day. I loved seeing them so much, but that was like a fluke. It was like that happened that year, and I wasn't loving the job, but I was loving the kids. And so I was like, it's fine. Like, I'll stay another year. It's totally cool. This year was really like, I should have quit last year. So all my feelings were just like even more so like, I don't love this, and I'm seeing more and more people do what I want. What's stopping me? Like, benefits? Am I really going to let insurance be what stops me from chasing what I want to do in my dreams? So I decided to quit my job, and there was a question. I'm gonna get into my questions. Someone said, when was the day you said today's the day I'll change my professional path? So I knew from the get-go I was not gonna quit mid-year. I am not the kind of person that could do that to my kids. They would have had a sub for the rest of the year. They would have learned nothing. I'm in a tested content area. I am dedicated to my kids, and I'm passionate about them still, and I was not gonna quit mid-year. I was gonna wait, which also would give me time. I'm in a very good position where I'm still getting paid through August 1st. So the end of the school year was the end of May. I have 2 months of insurance and paychecks because our contract is August 1 to July 31st. So I have a couple months to figure things out and really establish things for myself. So I'm very lucky in that sense, but I knew pretty much like September that I hated my job and I wanted to quit. There was a moment in, I think it was September, where I met up with Becca from Hello Lovely. Hello Lovely is a bookish company that I love, and I've become really good friends with Becca, and she was just chatting like, how's it going? And I was like, I hate my job. and she was so supportive, and one of the very first people who were like, you can do whatever you want and I will support you and we'll make it happen. And she talked me through a lot of things and options that I had, and that was really the first moment where it was like, I think I can do this. I spent a couple months in denial, and then I saw her again in Vegas and talked about it more, and I was like, I don't think I can do it, because it scared me. It scared me leaving a job that I knew I could have for a long time and retire in and have a stable income in. But another thing that was a driving force was the fact that teachers don't get paid a lot and we cap out pretty early. So there was no way I was gonna be making a lot of money, and I was like, so money's not the reason I'm staying. Why can't I go find something where I could potentially make more money? And so I actually told her I'm not gonna quit my job. And then over, I think February, I was looking at, well, are there other jobs I could get where I could work from home that could pay me more, that would still be like a corporate job? The job market's insane, and I'd never had to do that before. I was exhausted after like 3 days of looking at what potentially I could do. I was like, this is ridiculous. So, and there's nothing I want to do. Do I want to sit there and like do something I'm not passionate about? So I then decided I want to quit. It was pretty much February. I made the choice, I'm going to quit my job. And I knew I wanted to tell them in March, because that was when I knew they could start hiring, and that's when we had to tell them we wanted to return or not. So I told my school district in March, and that's when I made the announcement to my coworkers and my family and friends that I was quitting my job. I didn't really tell my kids. I didn't make like a big announcement or anything, but it like got around because teachers gossip. So it got around that I was the one that was quitting, because they always like post jobs openings in the school internally before they go externally, like who in the English department's quitting. So it got around, then my kids started hearing. So I officially quit in March, and it felt good to tell everybody, and I felt really excited. Before I quit my job, I am also in a really good position where I also have income from YouTube. I have my YouTube channel income and I have my Patreon. Now, I know people who are YouTube full-time, and I make a decent amount of money off of YouTube and Patreon, but I am not comfortable living off of that. So I like to buy things and I like to take a lot of trips. If you haven't noticed, if you follow me on social media, I love doing fun things. I love going to concerts. I love going to book signings. I love going on vacations. I love experiencing life, and I also like buying things for myself. I love buying clothes. I love buying books. Like, I did not want to be constrained by a lot lower income. I would be cutting off my full-time teaching salary and only going off of what I've been making on the side for the past 8 years that I've been doing YouTube as it increases. So I'm lucky though that I have that as a cushion to what I'm going to do next. So I have that. And then I think in April, Tori and I started our PR company. So we have a PR company called Forever and Always PR, where we help authors market their audiobooks. And it was just really a passion project of ours because we love audiobooks, and we have been in the social media world for so long that it was something we thought we could do. And that started with me because I talked to someone from an audiobook production company back in February when I was trying to decide what I wanted to do about potentially working in the industry. She basically told me it's really, really hard to get into, and she started out as a PA for an author and got into it. And she said, well, there's a lot of holes in the audiobook market though, and mentioned marketing. And I was like, that's something I could totally do. So Tori and I started our Forever and Always PR. We're having a blast with it. We've gotten to work with so many exciting authors. So that's part of what I'm doing now. I am not doing YouTube full time. I have YouTube. I am excited to put so much more time and energy and effort into it. I'm so excited to do anything with my Patreon. If there's any way you want to support me on this new journey of mine, definitely check out my Patreon if it's something you're interested in. I love my Patreon. We do weekly reading sprints. We do bi-monthly readathons. My next one just happened, but it's coming up. I'm pre-filming this, so it just happened this past weekend, and I'm loving all the prompts that I create. It's just so fun creatively for me. I do so many reading vlogs for them. I did a vacation reading vlog. I do monthly reading vlogs where they pick what I read. There's so much I offer in my Patreon that I love, so if you are interested, you can check it out. It's always linked down below. But I am also doing something with a friend, and this is something I can't get too much into until it's established. I am really lucky that I have so many contacts and connections in the book world already, since I've been around for a long time, and I have connected with a lot of people on my platforms. So I'm working on a project with a couple of people that's been taking a lot of time. Like, every morning I get up, I work on this project, and we're building something that I'm very excited for that's going to lead into something I'm going to be doing in the book world. That's all I can talk about now. I don't want to say anything else. I'm not officially hired by anybody or doing anything like that, but I am going to be freelancing, so that means I gave up my insurance, so I have a month and a half to figure that out. I'm going to, but that is something that I was scared of. But again, I was like, I'm not going to let not having insurance stop me from chasing my dreams. I can just buy insurance. It might be more expensive, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make if I have a job that I love and a life that I love. So yes, that's what I'm doing. Any questions about that, let me know. I am doing YouTube and Patreon. I have my marketing company, and then I'm working on a project on the side that's going to turn into something larger with more opportunities for me. And that's all I can say. So we have some questions that I will begin to answer. Someone said, curious about the dynamics of now working with authors but also still being a reviewer. I have already started kind of transitioning into less negative content and less negative focus videos, so I definitely know that it's a fine line between a reviewer and working for authors. So I am not going to be making videos anymore of like authors, books I hate, or authors I never read, or books I never read. I just want to focus on the positives and supporting authors I love. I will still always be 100% honest in reviews and include negative reviews in my wrap-ups, but I'm not going to be making like negatively focused content, and I'm also not reviewing any books that I work on. So I've already talked about different audiobooks I've listened to and included them in my wrap-up and talked about the plot, but then I said I worked on the marketing for this book, so I'm not going to review it. I don't think that's fair for me or the author to review it if I am paid to market their book. So I do want to also say I've never been paid to review a book on here without disclosing that. I've only been paid to talk about a book like at the beginning of a video. Any book I read and review because I want to. I have never been paid to do that, and I 100% always disclose if something's being sponsored. Someone had mentioned on a video that for a long time they know I've been paid to be talking about these books and that they don't trust me. No, I don't do that. So just to let you know, I am always very open about if I am working with the author or I am sponsored, and that'll continue. So if I ever work with an author or work on a book, I will 100% talk about that and just not give a review. Someone asked, what are you most excited about with your transition? I'm excited to just be passionate about my work. I'm excited to wake up every day. So often during the school year, I was like, it's Sunday, and I was dreading waking up on Monday, and I was counting down the days until Friday so that I didn't have to go to work anymore. I don't feel that right now, and I hope I don't ever feel that way. It's obviously still work. I'm obviously going to be putting in a lot of time. My first official day working for myself, I worked 12 hours. I have things to work on. Someone else asked me about that, which I'll get to in a second, but I'm excited to be able to wake up in the morning and go for a run, walk my dogs when I want to, take a break during the day, and just be home with my puppies and work on things I'm so excited and passionate about. So that's what I'm really excited for. Will there be anything you will miss about teaching? Congrats on a new chapter in your life. Thank you. I mean, I'm gonna miss my students. I loved teaching them, and I love being a part of their lives, and I was going through my classroom when I was cleaning it out, and I found notes from kids throughout the year. I think they're going to be ones that I miss the most, but honestly, I'm not going to miss too much. And that's telling you, like, this is a point where I'm just done. I was not sad the last day of school. I had no sadness. I was not even close to tears. I was like, okay, see you guys. Like, I was so excited to leave. I'm going to miss my kids, especially the ones I've had over years from yearbook. I felt really bad. There's this one student, I've had her for 3 years. I would have had her for her senior year next year, and she was the one I was most nervous about telling I wasn't coming back. But I love my students and I love those connections. But honestly, that's really all I'll miss, and and a lot of people are like, well, you know you can go back, and I do have that cushion. I know 100% my school would rehire me if I wanted to come back. But at this point, that's not a plan at all. Like, I do not plan on returning to teaching ever. Someone asked, were you scared, and is this a financial risk for you? I am very nervous. I'm so nervous to see, especially financially, how this is going to work out. Obviously, my long-term goal over the next 5 years is to make more than I was teaching with YouTube combined. So I want to make more doing stuff outside of YouTube than I was teaching, and I'm pretty sure that's plausible. I've talked with people that I'm working on something to help me get to where I want to be, and it is a goal to do that, and I know people who do what I want to do who get paid as much, if not more, than I was making as a teacher. So financially, it will be a little bit of adjustment. I do have savings. I feel very comfortable where I'm at right now, where I can pursue this, and the thing that was scaring me the most was insurance and figuring that out, and I still have to. I know that there are a lot of people in my life who's like, what are you gonna do about insurance then? Plenty of people get jobs for insurance. It's like, yes, but I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want insurance to drive my future, and like, literally, you get one life. Why am I gonna spend the rest of my life doing something I don't want to do? Do something that I'm passionate about and that I'm so excited about. So definitely scary. and I still have to figure out insurance-wise because I still have a month and a half left to figure it out, but I'm gonna do that. That's one of my things to do this week, is do that. Let me switch over to my Patreon questions because there were a couple of questions they had when I posted about it that they wanted me to answer. So someone says, what does your daily schedule look like? I worked a really long day my first day. What would be the norm and will it be more manageable? I have a really hard time where I'm very someone who's task and schedule oriented, where if I put it on a list, I want it done right away. So I will make my list for the week and I will want to get every single thing done on Monday. And I need to stop doing that. I know that people who work from home have a hard time shutting off work, and I need to do that as well because I'm so used to coming home from my day job, from teaching, and continuing to work on YouTube. Like, I would come home and you know, I said I would work out, I would have dinner, and then I would work on YouTube for the rest of the day. So I was working constantly already, and I need to get in the mentality that this is not like something I need to be doing constantly. So I need to get better at having a cutoff date, a cutoff time of when I need to stop working, which hopefully can be like by dinner time I need to stop working. But I have to be better at delegating things to certain days and not wanting to get everything done in one day. Don't take my computer to bed because I'm really bad at that too. If an email comes in, I feel like I need to answer it right away, and I'll bring my computer to bed and then be on it until like 10 o'clock at night. I need to stop doing that. I need to be better at managing my time. I am very excited though because I can set my schedule. I wake up, I go for my run. If it gets hot in the end of the day, I'll walk the dogs early. If not, I'll wait till lunchtime to walk them, and I will get started on my project stuff in the morning, forever and always stuff in the morning, and then typically I reserve after lunch for filming stuff. So like today, I ate around like 11:15, 11:30, and then around noon, I took my dogs for a walk, and then I came up here to film my video. In the afternoon, I'm going to edit. I try to put certain parts of my day for certain projects I'm working on, so that's my schedule. I really need to get better at delegating and calling it a day, which hopefully I do better at. We'll see. Someone said, are you having to do any kind of certification or training for your new career path? I am going to have to do a lot of training, and that training is going to be like self-training for what I want to do. Like I said, I cannot get into specifics because I don't want to say anything before things are set in stone or really like jinx myself. So I am going to be doing a lot of research and training on things that of knowledge I need to do what I want to do. And hopefully that will be done by the July or the end of July. Someone said, are you setting hours and giving yourself time to read? I would love to work for myself, but I'd be afraid I would do is read. I am reading less. So I did not feel guilty at all when I was at work during school teaching to sneak in reading during my hall duty time, or I had 2 periods of guided reading where we would read twice a week. I got so much reading done at work, and now I feel guilty reading when I could be doing so much work on my to-do list. So I don't read nearly enough. I've been reading a lot more audiobooks, but like I said, I need to get a lot of time now to stop and dedicate to reading. So someone said, I'm fascinated with your new PR company venture, so anything you want to share regarding that sounds really cool. So I shared really all that I needed to. I don't know if there's anything else really to say other than we're really excited to be working with authors. Some of our favorite authors have reached out and wanted to work with us. And if you're interested, if you're a reviewer and you love listening to audiobooks, check out our Instagram. It's Forever and Always PR. We post signups and we just organize review tours for authors and handle the ARC teams and handing out the listener copies. And we're so passionate about audiobooks that we love this accessibility for audiobook readers to have to listen to ARCs, because I know I get through audiobooks a lot faster than I get through ebooks. So if I'm given the chance, I'm like, yes, I want the audio over the ebook. So we're very excited for that, and we are creatively excited. Like, we are so excited to be doing graphics and different posts, and we just love it. Another big reason I also wanted to quit though is how involved I am in the book community and book signings. I was very limited as a teacher of how much time I could take off. I had over 100 sick days, but we only get 3 personal days a year. So I only have 3 days a year I can take off for vacation and personal reasons. And if they find that you are traveling or doing something personal with sick time, you get in trouble. So it was really extremely hard for me to go to signings I wanted to go to because I couldn't take time off of work. Now it's part of work, so I am able to open up my schedule and go to so much more than I want to and not be tied down to my job. So that was also another reason why I was all in for quitting my job, so that I was not restricted by taking days off. How did you make the transition? Any advice for someone looking to transition to a different career? You have to plan. Like I said, I've had this in my mind since September. I officially decided February, March, told everybody in March, and have been planning this transition for like 6 months. I am extremely lucky. I have a safety net of 2 months of still getting paid, of not having to teach, and I have my safety net of my income from YouTube, and I have a timeline in place of what I'm working on this project, project when I'm training and when I'm hopefully officially starting work. So don't be afraid to ask people for help or for contacts or for advice. There are so many people in my life that I have had very lengthy conversations with and have really encouraged me to chase my dreams and say that it is something that could be a reality, that it's not something that's totally out of my reach. So I have a couple author friends who've also helped me through this process, and I am so incredibly thankful for them. So make sure if you want to transition out of something, you look at your options and you see what other people are doing and say, why can't I do that? That sounds like something I absolutely love. I want to do it and make that happen. So that's really how this all happened. The last question, are you planning on doing YouTube full time? Like I said, no. I am still putting so much more time into YouTube though and Patreon, and would love to see it grow and possibly become something more. But at this time, no, I'm not. So I still would love you all to continue watching and supporting. Check out my Patreon if you're interested, and just hold tight and see what all the exciting things are that I'm going to be venturing in the next few months. And really, that's all I have. So let me know if I answered your questions. If you have any other questions for me, I would be more than happy to answer them. And yeah, that's just an update of my life. So I, come August, am not returning to the classroom, and I'm not sad about it. I am so incredibly excited for what my future has in store. I'm excited for books to become my life and to continue putting so much time and energy into YouTube and this platform, because I absolutely love it. I have been doing it for 8 years as well and could not imagine stopping. So I love this community and love everything it's brought to my life as well. So yeah, that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.